Are you alright?
드디어 45년 역사의 에이리언 시리즈의 7번째 영화 에이리언 로뮬루스가 8월 14일 개봉을 앞두고 있습니다. 역사가 길어서 사전 지식에 대한 고민이 많은 분들을 위해 지금부터 총정리 시작하겠습니다.
Are you sure you want to do this?
일단 요즘 영화 볼 때 필수로 던지는 질문 45년치 옛날 에이리언 시리즈 다 보고 가야 하나요? 에 대한 대답은 이번엔 진짜 그럴 필요 없습니다. 모든 에이리언 시리즈의 본질은 정체를 알 수 없는 괴생명체와 인간이 싸우는 스릴러이고
Run.
이번 영화는 이 철학을 철저하게 지키는 영화이기 때문인데 이 점만 기억하신다면 영화 보러 가기 전에 공부하는 것이 싫은 분들은 영상을 여기까지만 시청하셔도 괜찮습니다. 영화의 흥미도를 2배는 올려줄 수 있는 부가 정보만 정리해드리자면 우선 이번 영화는 에이리언 시리즈를 레전드 반열에 올려놓은 1979년 에이리언과 1986년 에이리언 2 사이의 이야기로 영화의 시대적 설정은 2100년 이후의 미래이고 거대 기업들이 앞장서서 인류를 우주 전역으로 보내 다양한 우주 탐사 및 광물 채취 그리고 식민지화를 진행하고 있는 상황입니다. 에이리언의 경우 2122년이라는 시대적 설정, 에이리언 2의 경우 2179년이라는 시대적 설정이었는데
Intercepted a transmission of unknown origin. She got us up to check it out.
A transmission? Out here?
Yeah.
당시 1편에서 미지의 신호를 추적해 한 행성에 착륙한 승무원들은
What the hell is this?
처음 보는 거대한 우주선과 조종석 같은 곳에 앉아있는 존재를 발견했고
Wait a minute, this movement seems to have life. Organic life.
여기서 승무원 하나가 얼굴을 덮어 숙주의 몸속에 에이리언 유충을 주입하는 페이스허거에게 붙잡히는데
I'm willing to take that chance. Let's cut it off now.
You take the responsibility.
Yes, I'll take the responsibility.
이것에 상처를 입히자 몇 겹에 달하는 우주선의 선내를 녹일 정도의 산성피가 흐릅니다.
That craft can eat through the hull.
이후
Well, we've got to have a look at this.
페이스허거는 얼마 가지 않아 죽고
Well, good. Let's get rid of it.
Tests have to be made.
Ash, are you kidding? This thing bled acid. Who knows what it's gonna do when it's dead?
I remember some horrible dream about.
그리고 숙주였던 남자는 아무렇지 않은 듯 깨어났는데
I don't want to talk about what it's made of.
하지만
What's wrong?
이내 그의 가슴을 뚫고 유충에서 성장한 체스트 버스터가 튀어나왔고 잠시 뒤 체스트 버스터의 완전한 단계인 제노모프로 진화해 승무원들을 무차별 학살했고 유일하게 생존한 리플리라는 주인공이 이놈과의 싸움에서 기적적으로 승리하며
This is Ripley, last survivor of the Nostromo.
지구로 향하는 구조선에서 동면에 드는 것으로 이야기가 마무리되는데 문제는 이 구조선이 너무 오랜 시간 동안 발견되지 못했고
It's just that this might be a shock to you. It's longer.
How long?
에이리언2에서 마침내 눈을 뜬 그녀는
57 years.
무려 57년이라는 세월 만에 동면에서 깨어난 것
It's 1 in 1,000, really.
까지가 두 영화의 기본적인 설정인데 이번 에이리언 로뮬루스는 이 두 영화 사이의 이야기를 정확히는 1편의 엔딩으로부터 20년이 지난 2142년을 배경으로 완전히 새로운 주인공들로 이야기가 진행됩니다. 참고로 영화의 타이틀인 로뮬루스는 이번 영화의 주인공들이 발견하는 우주정거장의 이름인데 이는 고대 도시 로마를 창립한 초대 왕의 이름으로 그에겐 쌍둥이 형제인 레무스가 있었고 이를 반영하듯 영화의 주 무대가 되는 우주정거장은 로뮬루스와 레무스 두 정거장이 합쳐진 르네상스 스테이션이 될 예정입니다. 이렇게 신화 속의 이름을 활용하는 이유는 보통 상징성의 이유 때문도 있지만 영화 전반의 줄거리와도 어느 정도 연관이 있지 않을까 싶은데 실제로 신화 속에서 로뮬루스와 레무스 형제는 갈등하고 갈등 끝에 레무스를 살해하기 때문에 이런 이야기의 흐름이 작중에 어떤 식으로 표현될지 알아보는 것도 좋은 관람 포인트가 될 것 같습니다. 참고로 이번 영화의 감독을 맡은 페데 알바레즈는 국내에선 맨 인 더 다크라는 작품의 연출과 각본을 맡은 것으로 유명하기도 하고 올드보이를 최고의 영화로 꼽은 것은 물론 자신에게 굉장한 영향을 미친 작품으로 소개하기도 했고 살인의 추억, 마더, 기생충 등 평소에도 한국 영화 명작에 푹 빠져 있다는 점을 밝히기도 했는데 이번 에이리언 로물루스도 감독님이 각본과 연출을 모두 맡기도 했고 그의 아이디어를 듣고 원작자 리들리 스콧도 극찬하고 아바타와 타이타닉의 아버지이자 에이리언2의 감독으로 시리즈 대성공을 이끈 제임스 카메론도 조언을 마구 해줬다고 하는데 감독님은 이번 영화는 원조 에이리언 시리즈의 근본이었던 생존과 공포를 기본 전제로 새로운 이야기를 그린다는 점을 밝히며 에이리언 시리즈에서 팬들이 가장 원했던 우주, 에이리언, 생존, 싸움에 집중한 영화라는 게 기대되는 점입니다. 참고로 이번에도 운 좋게 감독님과 1대1로 인터뷰를 진행할 수 있게 되었는데 한국에 대한 관심은 물론 이번 영화에 대한 꿀 정보들까지 감독님께서 직접 풀어주시니 지금부터 시청해보시겠습니다.
Hey, South Korea.
Your film Don't Breathe was incredibly well received in Korea and there's a lot of excitement here about you directing Alien Romulus. Did you know your film was so popular in Korea?
I do. And I remember when Don't Breathe came out, I was so happy they did so well over there. I love Korean cinema and it's been a massive influence in me. And you know, after your 30s, it's just hard to find movies that change your life. When I saw Old Boy for the first time, how that hit me so hard and it kind of fired up my passion for film again and one of the most groundbreaking and more different and more fascinating cinema out there. So I'm glad. So hopefully, maybe that's what happened. It's translated in my cinema, and that's why then it ended up working so well over there. Apart from the obvious, the Parasite and stuff. I mean, I'm trained to Busan, of course, and Peninsula. I love Peninsula. Couldn't believe when I saw it. It was so much fun. Memories of a Murder. That one I thought was fascinating. It's always on that place of violence and darkness that I just can't stop watching.
This film began when you pitched your vision to legendary producer Ridley Scott. Your idea impressed him so much that he proposed it to the studio. Can you explain what your idea was with minimum spoilers?
Well, I think the key was that we had these two main characters at the center of it. There's the character of Rain and Andy is a synthetic. And usually in all these movies, it's kind of a removed character that is part of the group, but it's not really, he's an outsider. And in this movie, Andy, the synthetic, is his surrogate brothers. They grew up together. And I thought that relationship of man and AI was very interesting if we started from the point of like, what if someone that loves you and really wants to take care of you instead of the enemy, instead of the monster, right? And then what happened when things get really, really bad and really dangerous? You know, what does it mean for them to be siblings? What does it mean to be someone's brother, someone's sister? That relationship that defined the whole story. We knew we were gonna have all the classic things that Alien has, but we need to have characters at the center that you have not seen before, in a relationship that you have not seen before. So it's something I kept from a lot of the trailers because I don't want to overexpose that, but it's the part of the movie that I cannot wait for you guys to see.
From the short footage I've seen, so I've seen like 10 minutes of the footage, and the visual elements like computers and old-fashioned spaceships remind me of the Alien and Aliens. I guess these are some of the representations of 80s futurism that you talked about in past interviews, so please define 80s futurism with your own words, and was there a reason for bringing back the visual style of those films?
Yeah, it's just something that I find fascinating and I just love to see. It's just a stylistic choice that I just prefer that sort of science fiction that plays in that time and that world. That's why we set the movie between the first one and the second one, just to be able to justify the visual look. The way to do it also wasn't necessarily to make sure it looked like the original film, but it was all about doing the retrofuturism. You don't try to think about how the future is going to look from now. You try to think, what did people think back in 1979, how the future was going to look, right? So that was the exercise we did. So we look at a lot of like gaming consoles from the 80s, right? Like the gaming consoles usually try to be as futuristic looking as they can, right? If you look at PlayStation 5 today, it looks like the future, right? They're always trying to make it as futuristic as they can. And hopefully for the new audience that haven't seen any of those movies and doesn't know what those things are, they will find a world that looks amazing and very tactile and not digital, you know, and they will love it as much as I do.
So in the Alien series, the creatures are crucial. you mentioned that you combined old school method with new elements to create the aliens. Can you elaborate on this process?
Yeah, we wanted to make sure that the movie felt real and didn't feel digital in any way. And particularly for horror, I think it's really important that you know the things are in there, that you see them, that you can feel they're real. If you know it's digital CG, it might be spectacular, but won't be scary. So there's moments in the movie that we needed things to be spectacular, employ those moments like you've seen in the trailer when you have space, and that usually you depend more on digital effects. But when it comes to the close encounter with the creatures, we want to make sure that they were real. So we build animatronics. We have the performance inside a suit as well. It was all about trying to find the best technique for each one of the shots, right? You want to find what is the shot and then understand what's the best technique for it. You know, if you've seen the chest burster scene, you're like, I thought, you know, there's no one touch of CG on that scene. It's all practical, all real. A lot of people puppeteering that creature to make it look as alive as it does, right?
Xenomorphs, facehuggers, chestbusters, they're the classics of the Alien series, and while their essence can't be changed due to the established lore, and were there any unique uses or changes made specifically for Alien Romulus?
Yeah, there was minor alterations in some of them. A lot of them, like the Xenomorph, for instance, the whole intention was to bring it back to the beginning, to bring back the biomechanical aspect of the Xenomorph that got lost through the movies. I think biomechanical is always terrifying because it's such a mix of things that don't mix. The biological aspect and the mechanical aspect combined in one creature, I find it terrifying. And that we did here with our Xenomorph. So I think the face huggers, because they have a slightly different, some of the skin tones are different. It has this barbed wires, have the little like stings on the, like this little nails on their fingers, because I thought in order when they grab your face, they need to have something to really attach to the back of your head. Otherwise they would slip too easily. So I thought if they had this like thorns, when they grab you, they will really get in there. It'll be really hard to remove. So we add that very nasty detail on the fingers. The chest burster was very similar to the original. It also has the hands like in Aliens, but one of the details that you see in the movie, if you saw that scene of the chest burster, color change in real time. You can see this ink, this black ink that run through the dome and start changing its color, and I thought it was beautiful to see.
It must have been quite a burden to lead a franchise that's 45 years old with multiple legendary directors preceding you. And did you focus more on continuing the legacy or pursuing something new? Or was there another aspect you concentrated on?
I think it's both. I think you can do both. You can honor the legacy by playing some things very straight and do some scenes very close to the originals. But there's plenty of room to invent and innovate and create more things.
Just out of curiosity, were there any other directors than Ridley Scott who participated in the past Alien series who gave you advice about making this film?
Well, James Cameron was lucky enough to have a conversation with him about the movie at the beginning, and he was super supportive. Just mostly about telling us his experience making Aliens and everything he learned about it, and particularly teaching us that this movie's only work when the director is really involved at every level and you're there, you know, you puppeteer, you create the sets, you gotta be really involved. These are very handmade movies, so it's something that both Ridley and James Cameron advised me to do.
Looking through your filmography, the keywords that come to mind are action and thriller. You've also participated in both direction and writing, so I believe the film will distinctly carry your style. How would you describe your version of Alien?
I mean, it has all the horror of the first film. It has a lot of the action as well of Aliens. Some of the suspense of Alien 3 as well, which I find a very suspenseful movie as well. But also, what it has that I think the others didn't have as much, it has a lot more character, and there's meaningful relationships among the characters that in the past movies, They don't. It's a bit more of every man for itself, you know, like for himself. They just don't. There's no deep relationships in those other movies, apart from like maybe Ripley and Newt on Aliens, and some very and other ones that are very precise. In general, they're a group of strangers or just colleagues that work together, but don't necessarily have deep of relationships that go way back. This is the first Alien movie where you're gonna meet a group of friends that really care for each other, and they grew up together and they're a family. So it makes the horror more powerful when you think about losing your best friend or your brother or your sister or your cousin instead of losing just a colleague from work. Right?
How do you think fans of the original Alien films will react to Alien Romulus, and what do you hope they take away from it?
I mean, I have no doubt the fans would love it, because I'm a fan myself, and I made it for myself. You know, just trying to make exactly the movie that I wanted to see as a fan. So, and we show it before once when we have a version of this movie. Usually, they do a test screening where you show it to a lot of people, and I was so happy to see that the fans were the people that really know the franchise were so happy with the film. So that was the biggest reward that I could have, to see the fans. Hey, South Korea. And if you love a good a horror movie that has a lot of creature horror and is quite violent and quite up, well, you're probably gonna love Alien Romulus. Yeah, that's true. If you love Don't Breathe, you're hopefully gonna really enjoy Alien Romulus.
여기까지가 에일리언 로물루스에 대한 부가 정보들과 페데 알바레즈 감독님과의 인터뷰였습니다. 영화는 8월 14일 극장 개봉을 앞두고 있고, 워낙 비주얼과 사운드가 중요한 작품이다 보니 큰 스크린에서 만나보는 것을 추천드리며, 오늘의 영상도 재밌거나 도움이 되셨다면 추천과 댓글, 그리고 구독도 부탁드립니다. 감사합니다. 지금까지 삐맨이었습니다.
Impact. Event in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.